Hello, everyone. I am super excited to bring you this brand new video today. This video will be about the nodes and eclipses in Pisces and Virgo. And we're going to talk about the nodes. What are the nodes? What do they mean for us? What are the eclipses and what do they mean for us and why are they important? Why does everybody pay attention to when the eclipses are every year? And we're going to look at the charts for the upcoming March 2025 eclipses, which are very important for us and very powerful. And this is really focusing on the sacred and the profane. So I'm going to explain what I mean by that as well when we talk about Pisces and Virgo, and how are we embracing Pisces and Virgo, and how are we healing within the zodiac signs of Pisces and Virgo. It all comes back to this question of what is sacred and what is profane, and how are we working with those in our world. So I can't wait to share that with you. Now, as we begin, for those who may be new to the Sacred Planet YouTube channel, I want to let you know a little bit about me. I am Jocelyn Starfeather, and I am a visibility coach for visionary entrepreneurs. I am an astrologer, a spiritual alchemist, and I guide tours to sacred sites, especially to Egypt. And this is a picture actually of me in Karnak in Egypt. This is inside of the Chapel of Sekhmet, but it's a little room off to the side where the light comes in this incredible, beautiful way. So I was catching the light in this amazing Chapel of Sekhmet. So you can come to my website and check out my work if you're not already familiar with me, or if you are familiar and want to see what's new, come to wearesacredplanet.com. Click on online courses near the top of that page, and you will see my many free and donation-based online courses that are currently available. And as it says here on this page, I believe that chaos and creation are magic in action. And we are birthing our new selves along with our new world at this time. We are truly birthing a new reality. And that's why everything feels so chaotic and wild and crazy right now. And we are all in this together. This is a time for light workers to rise. This is a time for all of us to come together in sacred community and support one another and hold the light together. So I hope that these astrology updates will really serve you well on your amazing journey. And I want to let you know about a very special new way to work with me. And this is called the Sirius Star Portal Mystery School and Group Mentorship. Now, this is a program that I've run in different ways over the years that combines alchemy and astrology and ritual in the most magical way. And I haven't ever run this program in quite the way I'm doing it now, because over many years of learning about how people best receive this material, I've created this brand new version of it for 2025. And it's really exciting. This is a small group experience. It includes a lot of personalized chart reading. So you will get your own personalized mini astrology readings within the group gatherings that we will have twice a month. I will guide you through the 7 stages of alchemy, and there are just incredible, beautiful rituals for each stage of alchemy that create true transformation in your life from the inside out. It's incredible because we do these rituals in the physical plane. We do 3D rituals, okay? But they're not only in the physical. They are affecting us. They are shifting and changing us on a physical level, but also on a spiritual level, and also on an energetic level, and perhaps most importantly, on a subconscious level, so that we can truly create the life of our dreams. I have been doing these practices, the alchemy combined with astrology and ritual, for many years in my own life, and have also been guiding my clients in this for many years. And I'm just really excited to bring this to you. Now, this is a small group that's already in progress, and we have some amazing people in this group. And I do have room for 3 more people to come into the group. So if you're interested in this, I will put the link to the program in the description field below this video. If you want to find it out on the web, it's wearesacredplanet.com/Sirius-star-portal-4444. Hopefully that URL gives you a sense of the magic. And I'll just say a few more words about this and then we'll go to the astrology. So this is an opportunity to have my guidance and my personalized, customized look at your birth chart and coaching for whatever you might be going through in this small group setting, as together we navigate the modern day mystery school that we are in currently in our world. And it's important to know that as we're seeing the chaos and the challenges in the world around us, that is also indicating that the magic is rising, the miracles are becoming more available to us, because all of this intensity, it has the shadow side to it, and it also has the light side to it. So we are opening to an expanded capacity for miracles. We are opening to our intuition and our visions and our psychic abilities and our healing gifts. All of this is waking up for us at this time. And in this program, I really want to help you and guide you in bringing out your greatest gifts, in living your most joyful and fulfilling life. And we do that using, as I will scroll down here, 3 tools. All right. And this creates our radical and joyful structure for how we shift realities. The first tool is astrology. This is an ancient system of connecting with our divine nature. And it's important to know that astrology helps us feel safe as we're going through big changes because it explains the themes of the changes. It explains how we can respond in the highest frequency. Then we bring in alchemy and ritual. And alchemy allows us to take our sacred architectural blueprint that we find in the astrology and put it into a form that we can use. It's just really magical how alchemy and ritual combine with astrology. Now, this is what the ancient people always knew. The ancient and indigenous people from every continent were using astrology and astronomy alongside alchemy and ritual to create and shape their reality. And we can remember this. We are remembering this, and we can do this now. And then the third component here is sacred mentorship, which is my guidance. And this is very unique. This is not like anything you'll find in any other program, because when we bring in the alchemy, and I'm guiding you through the 7 stages of alchemy, and then we look at your birth chart and see exactly how is this stage of alchemy showing up for you in your chart and in the transits, it creates a customized experience like nothing else available out there. So come on in and check it out. I hope that you'll join me. Registration for this will be open only through May 3rd, and then I am closing the doors probably for the rest of the year. So if you want to get in now. It's a really amazing group of people. I would love to have you join me there. Okay, so on to the astrology. I have pulled up this chart for today, February 22nd, as I'm recording this video today. And so this will be our basis and our jumping off point. And I have just so much to share with you today that's going to be really, really powerful and guide you in a really beautiful way. So let me just begin by giving a foundation in what are the nodes. Well, we have here, if you can see in this chart, the North Node at 27 degrees of Pisces today, and the South Node at 27 degrees of Virgo. The nodes travel backwards through the signs. So this South Node will next, in the coming weeks and months, go to 26 and 25 and 24 and move backwards through Virgo. And this North Node will move backward through Pisces, and eventually, after being in Pisces for 18 months, will go into Aquarius. And they move that way continuously backward around the zodiac. The nodes are a calculation that reveals the points of intersection of the sun and moon as they move around the celestial sphere. Now, we don't need to memorize that in order to understand what the nodes mean for us. But what that does indicate, because they are showing us the points of intersection between the sun and moon, the nodes are always going to indicate where the eclipses will occur. The nodes and the eclipses are always concurrent. And what happens is whenever we have a new moon or a full moon that is very close to the north node or the south node, that's when we have an eclipse. I'll say more about eclipses in a little bit here. The nodes are going to always be exactly opposite one another on the zodiac. So you can see that here, 27 Pisces and 27 Virgo. So they're always revealing to us something on a polarity spectrum that we need to know about. And that's really important to understand as well. In Vedic astrology, the nodes are identified as a serpent or a dragon, which I find so interesting. The north node is Rahu. This is the head of the dragon. This is the future. This is what we're moving toward. And the south node is Ketu, the tail of the dragon. And this is our past. This is all that we carry from the past, both good and bad. And I actually have a little slide I'm going to share with you just so you can have it a little bit more clearly in front of you. What does the north node mean and what does the south node mean? So you can see here, as it says on this slide, that the eclipses have been occurring in Aries and Libra from July 2023 until January 10, 2025. And this is where the nodes have been traveling during that 18-month period. The nodes tend to spend about 18 months in each sign. Going forward, starting on January 11, 2025, the nodes moved into Virgo and Pisces. And they will be there from January 11, 2025 to July 26, 2026. So the North Node is our future. It is the direction our soul is pulling us toward in this lifetime. And the North Node is in Pisces right now. We're going to talk a lot more about what that means for you. So the North Node can feel new and a bit outside of our comfort zone. It can feel like, wow, I don't know how to get there. I'm not sure how to move from where I am now into that desired future. Where the nodes are in our own birth chart is really important. So it's important to know that the North Node in your birth chart is the direction that for you personally, individually, your soul is being pulled toward that and called toward that in this lifetime. So we want to keep in mind the North Node in our birth chart is not something we achieve by the time we're 20 or 30 or 50 years old. It's really a lifelong journey that we're reaching toward all throughout this lifetime. It indicates very strongly our purpose and our mission in this lifetime. And it's also about what we need or want to bring into our lives. So that's important too. And that's about it being the head of the dragon. You know, what are we wanting? What do we desire? What are we moving toward? What are we trying to achieve? So even when it feels difficult to achieve the North Node, we still feel very called to it. It is a soul level calling, this North Node. The South Node, on the other hand, represents our past. So this is about our past lives. Who have we been before? Where have we come from? What feels familiar and comfortable to us because we've been there before, but this doesn't necessarily mean it's good, right? We may have been in traumatic situations that feel familiar, but not safe. So it's important to note that the South Node, representing our past, the tail of the dragon, what we tend to be moving away from, includes both the shadow and the light of the past. So it includes pain, karma, and trauma that we've been carrying and we need to clear. But keep in mind, our past also includes the gifts, the wisdom, the talents, the healing modalities, the knowledge that we've learned and held very strongly in previous lifetimes. So we don't want to throw out everything related to the South Node. We want to release and clear from that which is painful or harming us or wounding us or keeping us locked in old patterns. But we want to identify, maybe through past life regression or maybe through meditation, Who have we been before when we were in strong and powerful lifetimes? When have we been the priest or priestess or witch or midwife or shaman or wizard or magician? And we want to reach back to the knowledge and the power that we held at those times and bring it forward and use it today for the highest good. Right? So there's this interesting construct with the South Node of knowing what to release and let go, but also knowing what to pull forward into the current lifetime. But as the South Node travels around the zodiac, it does carry a very strong indicator for us of what we need to release and what are the harmful patterns that we want to be aware of and consciously clear and let go. Okay, so coming back to our chart here. It's important also to mention that the nodes are the turning points of our destiny. So we have the North Node in our own birth chart. So you can look at your birth chart or get an astrology reading and find out where is your North Node, where is your South Node. For you personally and individually, the North Node is what you are moving toward in this lifetime and what you are called to, even when it feels hard. And the South Node is your past. And again, that balance of what you're releasing and what you're carrying forward. The nodes collectively for us as they are moving through the transits. So this North Node at 27 Pisces right now, the South Node at 27 Virgo right now, are showing us, first of all, the North Node, what we're moving toward collectively, what we are called to embrace collectively. And then the South Node being what we are called to release collectively. And so these are the turning points of our destiny, both personally in your own chart and collectively in the transits. This is asking us, how will we choose to move toward the future that is calling to us? How will we choose to learn from and often to release the pain and traumas of the past? And the decisions that we make in relation to the nodes significantly affect our lives and the collective reality. So we always want to be very aware of where the nodes are traveling, what they are showing us. And we want to choose well. We want to choose wisely. So that's especially why I wanted to make this video for you as we're just beginning this 18-month period of the nodes being in Virgo and Pisces so that you will know how to work with it over the next 18 months. Time-wise, the nodes take about 19 and a half years to go the whole way around the zodiac. So the North Node is here at 27 Pisces. Children born today will have their North Node at 27 Pisces and their South Node at 27 Virgo. And it will take 19 and a half years for them to go the whole way around and for the North Node to be at 27 degrees of Pisces once again. So it can be really helpful to look back in time and see what was happening for you 19 or 20 years ago. And you will be receiving the same curriculum from the universe now as you were then, but you'll be at a different point on the spiral. So you want to really look at the themes and go back and look what was happening 19 or 20 years ago, what was really significant in your life. It was changing your destiny in some way. And then those same themes will carry through now today. We also have nodal oppositions at the halfway mark in that 19 and a half year cycle. Now, I'm having my nodal opposition right now, actually, and I'll show you an example of this. My South Node is at 27 degrees of Pisces, where the North Node is now, right? So my South Node is getting a North Node transit. My North Node is at 27 degrees of Virgo, so my North Node is getting a South Node transit. The nodal opposition is a very interesting time. It's often a time when a lot is changing, when we feel called to recalibrate and shift and learn a lot. So that's interesting to note. The nodal opposition is a very important time in our lives. Now, the opposing zodiac signs, like here we have Pisces and Virgo. reveal to us a set of polarities. And that's true for each set of opposing zodiac signs. So we have Pisces and Virgo, we have Aries and Libra, we have Taurus and Scorpio, and so on. It's important to really be paying attention to the themes that those opposing zodiac signs bring to us. This is our curriculum as the nodes are traveling through those signs. These opposite zodiac signs are always complementary to one another. They have certain qualities in common, but they also have certain qualities that are very, very opposite. So as the nodes are traveling through the signs, always creating this real lived experience of what those opposite polarities represent. It's giving us a curriculum here on Earth to learn from what those nodes are showing us. Now, I want to just tell you a little bit, go through the signs quickly here, and just show you examples of this. So for example, Aries and Libra, and this is where the nodes were from the middle of 2023 till January 10th, 2025, okay? The nodes were in Aries and Libra. So the major themes that we were learning about collectively during that time, and this is going to be a short list. I could go much more expansive, but I want to make this fairly brief. But basically, Aries is about I am. Who am I? What do I stand for? And Libra is about how do I relate to others, right? So this is interesting. Aries is the I am. Libra is our relationships with others and creating balance and harmony in relationships. Then we have Taurus and Scorpio. Taurus is very much about solid reality, a stable grounding sense. What is real? What is tangible? What do I enjoy? How do I find pleasure in what is right here in front of me, in the simple things? Scorpio is all that we cannot see, what we cannot touch, the mystical, the magical, the shamanic realms, and that which is hidden, right? Very different than Taurus. Taurus is what I can see, what I can touch. What I know is right here. Scorpio is, we don't know what is here, right? Very interesting how they work together. Then we have Gemini and Sagittarius. Gemini is, how am I learning? What am I studying? What am I reading? What am I curious about? And Sagittarius is more of the big picture view of that same thing, right? Sagittarius is what are the big philosophies, the big wisdom traditions in the world? How can I travel and experience these different cultures and experience these different concepts of reality, these different philosophies? And what is my philosophy for my life? What are the different wisdom traditions I'm bringing together to understand and to learn and to study? So Gemini is kind of more in the immediate, what is present right now. Sagittarius is a more expansive view of what we're learning about and the wisdom. Then we have Cancer and Capricorn. Cancer is the great mother, the oceans of emotion of the human experience. This is very much about safety. It is a connection to the womb space, the watery womb space, and that which is formless. It's very feminine, very feminine. The power of the womb, the power of the darkness from which all things are born. And Capricorn, on the other hand, is much more masculine. This is the great father energy. This is our grandfathers, our lineage. And it's an earth sign. So it's about the structure of the earth, very different than the formlessness of Cancer. Capricorn is also about work and structure, the solidness of the earth. And it includes the ancient wisdom of the earth and the ley lines of the earth, whereas Cancer includes the wisdom of the oceans that are constantly moving and shifting and changing. Then we have Leo and Aquarius. This is a very interesting one. So Leo is about being in the present moment. It's about fun, play, creativity. It's the musician or the actor on the stage just fully in the present moment, embodying their fullest nature of their creativity and their gifts. Leo is also about how do we properly use our ego. And then Aquarius, on the other hand, is about the future, very future oriented, very intellectual, very visionary, looking to what is coming next. That's really different than Leo just playing in the present moment. So in Aquarius, we find themes of technology, we find the communities of the future, and Aquarius is very unconventional. Aquarius is those of us as the rainbow sheep who've always been able to see the future before the others, right? And we're very future oriented. So this axis is really quite interesting because it invites us to be fully present in the moment, but also be aware and informed about the future and tuned into our visionary nature that shows us what's coming next. And then we have Virgo and Pisces, and this is where the nodes are right now. So Virgo is the sacred as found in the ancient mystery schools, the temples, and the ley lines. This is the parts of ourselves that were priests and priestesses and the holders of the ancient rituals and ceremonies long ago. And very grounded, very much about the earth and how are we in sacred service here on the earth. Now, Pisces is the sacred out in the vastness of the universe. Pisces actually is said to include everything in the other 11 zodiac signs all wrapped up together. And this is so interesting because Pisces includes all the vastness of the entire universe or even the entire multiverses. It is everything. And so Pisces brings us back to a clear connection with our oneness, with all that is. And so this is a very different view of the sacred than Virgo, but it is also a view of the sacred, the divinity in the stars and the skies above us that was always revered in ancient times. And I find this Virgo Pisces axis so fascinating if we think about our bodies and also the ancient temples and the ancient stone circles. You know, if we think about the temples and the stone circles, they were built to be in alignment with the Virgo aspects, the ley lines, and the electromagnetic fields of the earth, the sacred of the earth plane, and also to be aligned with the stars and constellations and planets in the cosmos. That is Pisces, the sacred that is in the realms above. So the temple or the stone circle or the pyramid or the church is designed to draw up the Virgo sacredness from the earth plane and to draw down the Pisces sacredness of the cosmic plane and create a sanctuary where we receive both of those energies in the center. This is really important to keep in mind as we're thinking about the nodes moving through Virgo and Pisces. Similarly, our body is a temple. Your body is a sacred temple that, just imagine if you're standing outside, barefoot on the earth, with the sun shining on your crown chakra, you are pulling up the energies from the earth below, from Mother Earth, receiving her life force, her unconditional love, up through your feet, through your root chakra, and into the body. And you are pulling down and receiving the cosmic codes, the light codes from above into your crown, into your third eye, and then down into the body. And this is how we're meant to be. So I do invite you to go out and stand barefoot on the earth on a sunny day whenever you can. It's very healing. It's very powerful. It is confirming your body as the sacred temple. And this is really pointing us toward the themes of what we'll be working with as the nodes move through Virgo and Pisces. So these are our themes, and this is why I've called this video The Sacred and the Profane. Now let's just talk about what does sacred mean and what does profane mean. There's an incredible book by Mircea Eliade called The Sacred and the Profane, The Nature of Religion. And if you're interested in these themes, I highly recommend checking out that book. To describe to you the sacred, I'm going to read a quote from that book. Mircea Eliade says, "The sacred always manifests itself as a reality of a wholly different order from standard realities. It is the tremendum, or the majestas, or the mysterium fascinans." He's using these Latin words. He goes on to say, man becomes aware of the sacred because it manifests itself, shows itself as something wholly different from the profane. To designate the act of manifestation of the sacred, we have proposed the term hierophany. It could be said that the history of religions, from the most primitive to the most highly developed, is constituted by a great number of hierophanies, by manifestation of sacred realities. So this is our context that we're working with here, the sacred, and how the sacred makes itself known to us through the veil of ordinary reality. So with that in mind, then, what is the profane? The profane is that which is either not aware of or blatantly disrespectful toward the sacred. And this is something that we are arriving, you can clearly see in our world today, we are arriving at a culmination point of having gone too far into the profane and losing track of the sacred as a collective. And then interestingly, what is happening for many of us in our individual lives, for those of us who are on the spiritual awakening journey, we are remembering the sacred and we are bringing it back in to counterbalance the profane. Now, the profane can include abuse, contempt, or irreverence toward that which is sacred. But it also includes many aspects of our society which were simply constructed or organized without any real understanding or knowledge of the sacred. So if you think about how we've built our cities and roads and all these things, rocket ships and all these things that humans build, mostly they have been constructed without any knowledge of the sacred, without any attunement or honoring of that which is sacred. And this is very different from in the ancient times. If we think of ancient Egypt, if we think of ancient Sumeria, if we think of the ancient times in the Americas, humans at that time were building their structures, their lives, organizing their communities with profound reverence to the sacred. And that is why we love to study and visit these structures that they built, the temples, the pyramids, the stone circles. We feel the sacredness of them. We can see, and we can also sense the sacredness that is held in those structures and how those ancient people were building with full knowledge and reverence of what is sacred and the importance of that. And I do believe that this is why astrology is key to our future. This is why so many people are turning back to astrology as a sacred science. And again, it's really astrology and astronomy. It's really both of those combined, and there's no separation between the two. This is how the ancients always practiced their observations of the cosmos, because the sacred and the science are one. So the reason that we're coming back to astrology as a sacred science is because it reminds us of the divinity of our own nature. It reminds us of the sacredness when we see our own birth chart and we see how powerfully everything is laid out, our opportunities, our challenges, our gifts, our purpose, our wounds that we carry. It is all written in this divine language of the birth chart. And then as the transits move across the sky, it reveals to us the events, the turning points, the destiny moments right? This is us tuning back into the sacred, turning away from the profane and turning toward that which is sacred once again. I had a transmission in a deep meditation under the stars one night that was showing me this question of how could humans ever think that we could build cities, societies, and civilizations without consulting the divinity of the sky? We are foolish to think that we could construct all of this without ever consulting the divinity and the sacredness. So for our nodes then, over the next 18 months, Pisces is that divinity of the sky. Virgo is the divinity of the earth. And so these movements of the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo are calling to us at this time. I want to note that the divinity of the sky in Pisces also holds space for the divinity of the earth in Virgo. And the divinity of the earth in Virgo also holds space for the divinity of the sky in Pisces. They work together. Again, the temples and even our bodies are perfectly constructed to merge both of them in the center. So what we are working with here from January 11, 2025 to July 26, 2026 is these themes of the divinity, the sacredness of the earth and sky, the sacredness of life itself and all of creation. Pisces themes include care, peace, compassion, and a sense of oneness. And so what better antidote to all of the separation and division in our world? This brings us back into wholeness. And then in Virgo, we are called back into sacred service to the all, to the earth and to all that is, in a healthy way. Back to our knowledge that we have held in the past as priests and priestesses of the divine. Back into our knowledge of why they built the ancient temples and stone circles, in alignment with both the ley lines of the earth and the constellations, stars, and planets in the sky above. This is Virgo and Pisces. So, how will this show up in our own lives? Well, we will be called to embrace the Pisces qualities of strengthened intuition, psychic abilities, visionary abilities, our connection with the realms above and our star families, and this sense of oneness, of all of us being one, of all of us being unified and together, care and compassion and true empathy for one another will be absolutely key in guiding us through what we're moving through in the world right now. That is the North Node in Pisces. And then the South Node in Virgo. Now, this is a big one. South Node in Virgo here is very significant for us. This is, first of all, about what do we need to release. Remember that the South Node holds a balance of what are we releasing from the past and what are we carrying forward from the past. When we look at the Virgo themes of what we need to release, this is very much about the witch wound. This is about releasing the pain and the trauma that we hold from when the temples were shut down, from when the witches were burned, from when we were the holders of the sacred, perhaps the sacred texts, perhaps the sacred objects, and we had to risk our lives to hide and keep them safe. Or maybe we even had to watch those sacred objects or sacred texts or our temples or our brothers and sisters holding the sacred knowledge be destroyed right before our very eyes. So this is a deep wound. This is deep karma and trauma held in Virgo about how in previous times, in previous lives, we were doing everything we could to be in sacred service to the divinity. And maybe we were harmed or killed or outcast for doing so. There's also something here about releasing the pain and trauma of the cataclysms of the past, when maybe we felt that we were not protected by the divine as we thought we should be. And that's a really deep wound, where we felt at the mercy of the elements, confused, helpless, and afraid. And so we want to honor these experiences we've had in the past with the Virgo themes that have been so traumatic. And we want to really set our intentions to heal, to clear, to let go of this. I had an amazing conversation with my client, and who is now a dear friend, just yesterday. And she asked this amazing question, which is so relevant to these Virgo South Node themes. She said, you know, we are spending so much time preparing for the cataclysm. But what if we took all of that time and energy and actually used it to prepare for the highest outcome, for the bright and shiny future? How would that shift things in our world? And that is so relevant here to how do we heal from the South Node in Virgo? Well, we must let go of the fear and the pain that we carry from these things that happened in the past, so that we can move forward, so that we don't keep creating those old patterns over and over again. We don't want to be focused on the cataclysm, on the worst case scenario. We want to be focused on what we can build instead. And then that is what we will create. We will create the brighter future when we focus on the brighter future. Now, the South Node in Virgo is also about reclaiming our power, our knowledge, and our wisdom that we did hold when we were the priest or priestess, the witch, the magician, the wizard, the shaman, the midwife, the herbalist in past times, in the lives where we held great power, in the lives where we were the center of the community and everyone turned to us for healing, and where we were in divine balance between the earth and cosmos, and able to use all of our shamanic and priestess and healing tools. So we want to be aware of those very positive, very powerful past lives and pull forward into this lifetime the immense layers of knowledge that we held and the modalities that we knew so innately at those times. We also want to pull forward our vast understanding of the Earth's ley lines and how our energetic body connects with the energetic fields of the Earth, and how we can access this for healing. So you can feel now the power of the North Node in Pisces, the South Node in Virgo. This is mythological. This is about rewriting our stories, rewriting our own mythologies and our collective story, our collective mythology. I would love to hear from you in the chat. How is this landing for you? What is moving within you as you ponder these themes of Pisces and Virgo? What is showing up for you in your life around these themes? And we want to keep these themes in mind for the next 18 months, all the way through July 26, 2026, because more will be revealed. As I mentioned, the curriculum that the universe is showing us will be along these themes. And I think it is very, very important for us to begin looking out into the world and make the distinction between what am I looking at right now? And is it sacred? Is it held in sacredness? Is it honoring the divinity? Or what I'm seeing right now, is it profane? Is it either completely ignorant of the sacredness, or is it even in blatant disrespect of the sacredness? And then how do I want to respond to that? And I think it will be really careful. It will be really important. We want to be really careful to not be responding from the fear and anger of that South Node in Virgo. Okay, we don't want to respond from that shadow side. We want to respond from the highest place. We want to respond from, first of all, the part of us related to the South Node in Virgo that holds the highest power as the priest or priestess, the highest power as the shaman or the midwife. Okay. And then also, we want to be responding from the place of the North Node in Pisces that knows that we are all one, that knows that there's a bigger plan, that knows that everything is happening in divine timing and all is well. And we can connect in with the highest frequencies of the realms above to guide us. And from there, we respond to what we see out in the world. So really track this in your life and in the collective over the next 18 months. I would love to hear back from you. Come back to this video 3 months from now or 6 months from now and write in the comments what's showing up along these themes. I would even say come back and listen to this video again 6 months from now to refresh and remember and think about what's shown up for you since the time that I recorded this video. Okay, so those are the extremely powerful themes we're working with here with the North Node in Pisces and South Node in Virgo. And now I want to share with you about the eclipses that will be happening in March. So first of all, let's go to this page. And you can look this up. If you just type in 2025 eclipse charts, cafe astrology, you will get to this same page right here, which is very helpful. It tells us the 4 eclipses, the exact dates and times. This is in Eastern or New York time. And what dates and times they'll be happening in 2025. So we are in a pretty normal eclipse year as far as we're having 4 eclipses this year. Normally there are 4 eclipses a year. They always come in sets of 2. And you can see that we have these 2, March 14th and 29th, and then we have 2 more eclipses 6 months later, September 7th and 21st. They're always in sets of 2, and they're always 2 weeks apart. 2 weeks here in March, 2 weeks here in September. And that time between the 2 eclipses is the eclipse portal. And that is an incredibly powerful time to be alive and to be working with the themes that the eclipses are bringing to us. I just want to mention that when there are more than 4 eclipses in a year, it indicates that something really big is going on because the eclipses are the turning point of our destiny. And I'll say more about that in a minute, but I just want to mention that in 2020, within a 1-year time that included, I think, like the last couple weeks of 2019 and then all of 2020, we actually had 7 eclipses. How fascinating is that? So the eclipses mark these turning points. They mark these destiny change moments. And this year we have 4, which is the normal amount. Now, as far as the eclipses being destiny turning points, what I mean by that is, and let me go to our first date here, March 14th at 2:54 a.m. New York time. We're going to look at that chart right here. So what I mean by that is the eclipses are the times when the sun, which in this chart is at 23 Pisces, and the moon, which here is at 23 Virgo, line up with the nodes. So you can see that the moon and the south node are only 4 degrees apart here. The sun and the north node are only 4 degrees apart here. This is opening a portal. If you look back to the ancient texts and the ancient times, the ancient people were very, very aware of the eclipses. They tracked them. There were, we have very much evidence of this. The Dendera zodiac, for example, includes documentation of 2 eclipses that were happening around the same time that Dendera temple was built. Stonehenge tracks the eclipses. Many of our ancient structures and texts that we know of today. We're tracking eclipses, among other movements of the sun and moon. The ancient people knew that these were important times to pay attention to. And they're portals because they're very, very strongly. So these, lights in our sky, these illuminated bodies of the sun and the moon in the sky, which have a very profound connection with us. The sun and moon very, very strongly influence how we're feeling on Earth, the events, what we're moving through. They're coming into this really, really close connection with the nodes, with our past and with our future. And so each time that we have an eclipse or a pair of eclipses, as you saw on the last screen, they always come in pairs. It opens a portal for 2 weeks where we can experience a lot of change, or we can experience a lot of new information coming in, or new results or outcomes showing up in our lives. And then it's like something new is initiated at the eclipse portal, that 2-week portal. It includes an eclipse on one end, 2 weeks in the middle, an eclipse on the other end. A lot tends to happen during those times. And it also kicks off a 6-month window until the next round of eclipses for whatever was dropped in, whatever was initiated or started during the eclipse portal to fully carry out what it needs to do. So you will see things showing up in your life in a new way, showing up in our world in a new way during this 2-week window between March 14th to the 29th. And then you will continue to see how it rolls out in its fullness over the 6 months following that between March and September this year. So this too, we want to be tracking. I feel it's really important to be journaling on the eclipse days and during the 2 weeks of the eclipse portal. Journal a lot, write down what shows up, write down how you feel, write down what is new or coming into your awareness during that time, and then refer back to it, 2 months later, 3 months later, 6 months later, and see how that came in and really shifted and changed your life in a powerful way. So that's what tends to happen with the eclipses. So with this eclipse, we have the moon at 23 degrees of Virgo. And the moon is the focal point of any full moon lunar eclipse. So keeping in mind, this is a full moon, all right? It is a full moon moment that also happens to be an eclipse moment. And what happens in a full moon eclipse is that the Earth comes between the sun and the moon and lines up with the moon in such a specific way that the shadow of the Earth is cast on the moon. And it becomes darker, or actually it usually gains kind of a red shadow when that eclipse is happening. So in this case, the energetics that we're working with during this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, conjunct the South Node, okay, is that first of all, the moon is in a trine to Uranus. Now, I've talked about Uranus in other videos. Uranus is having a very strong influence on us in 2024 and 2025. If you refer to my video called Uranus Moving into Gemini, you'll learn a lot more about the archetype of Uranus there if you're interested in that. But essentially, Uranus is the planet that stands for our freedom and our liberation, and will bring surprising events into our life to help us get to that freedom. Uranus is also the higher mind of the universe. It is the cosmic consciousness. It is the high frequency downloads and transmissions that we're receiving, the light codes from above. So with this trine from the moon to Uranus, keep in mind that a trine is a positive aspect. This means that the full moon and the sun also, which is in a sextile to Uranus, are working harmonically, are working favorably with this planet, and Uranus is working favorably with them. So this could be a time when miracles can happen. This can be a time when there's something really surprising that you didn't see coming that comes in and just shifts the entire trajectory of events. This could be a time also when you're receiving a lot of transmissions, very profound and deep meditations. It would be a powerful time to have a retreat day and just allow, or even a retreat hour or two if you can't do a whole day, and allow yourself to go in really deeply to sacred space. Remember, sacred is our major theme here, with the nodes in Pisces and Virgo. Go into a sacred space, create a sacred space where you will not be interrupted. Be out in nature if you can, but it's okay if you can't. Create that space, that solitude, that quiet time to go way deeply into yourself. And when we go deeply into ourselves, we often find ourselves way out in the cosmos and in connection with the divine. Uranus can deliver gifts to us on this day. Very powerful time. It's possible with Uranus, because Uranus is very unpredictable. There could be an unpleasant surprise as well. I hope not. I hope that it will be all pleasant surprises on this eclipse day. But if there's an unpleasant surprise, what we want to keep in mind is that ultimately this is guiding us toward our highest frequency future. This is guiding us toward freedom and liberation from that which has kept us trapped. So we want to reframe it. We want to keep a big picture context if anything happens that is not favorable. Uranus brings surprises to liberate us, and they can show up in many different ways. Now, the other thing that's really important about this full moon lunar eclipse is here on the Sun and North Node side of the zodiac, we're in Pisces. And we have quite a lineup of powerful planets happening here. We have not only the Sun and North Node together, but we also have Saturn at 22 degrees of Pisces. We have Neptune at 29 degrees. We also have Mercury and Venus over here, which are in Aries, but which are going to be traveling back into Pisces because Venus is already retrograde here. Mercury's about to turn retrograde here. They're going to come back into Pisces and join the party that's happening in the late degrees of Pisces. So this is a powerful lineup of energy that is really strongly amplifying our movement into the Pisces North Node, into all of the Pisces themes that I told you about, especially focusing on the sacredness and the divinity of the realms above, our visionary, our intuitive, our empathic, and psychic abilities, which are going to be growing. It's like our superpowers are going to turn on very strongly during the 18 months that Pisces, that the North Node will be in Pisces, but it's really amplified during this eclipse. It's going to be really amplified all throughout March and April 2025 because all of these planets will be gathering together here around the North Node. But this is a special moment when the Sun is joining the party in Pisces. And the Sun is here in this profound relationship with the Moon and the nodes. So this is a big amplification of our intuition and our psychic abilities, our healing abilities, all of our abilities that connect us with the divine are going to be amplified and turned on. So this is another reason to let this be a retreat day if you can, because you may receive the activation of gifts you never even knew you had, or you may receive an upgrade to your gifts and your abilities on this day. So this is a really powerful day. It is a very positive energy here that we're working with on March 14th, full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. Let's then look at our other eclipse. This one is happening on March 29th, 2025. 6:58 a.m. New York time is the exact time of it. Now, this one is a new moon solar eclipse, and you can see we have the Sun and Moon together here at 9 degrees of Aries. This one is a bit farther away from the nodes, so you can see that the nodes are still here at 27 Pisces, North Node, 27 Virgo, South Node. And this eclipse is happening, what is this, 14 degrees away, but that is still close enough. That's pretty far out, but from the nodes, but it's still close enough to let it be an eclipse. Now, the sun and moon being at 9 degrees of Aries is really quite significant here. If we look at the aspects, the sun and moon are actually not in an extremely strong aspect to any of the other points or planets in the chart, but the sun and moon are at a really momentous point in the zodiac. I'm going to go back for a moment, toggling back here to this March 14th eclipse, because I just want you to notice where Mercury and Venus are in this chart. Mercury and Venus are at 7 and 9 degrees of Aries. They're essentially at the point where this new moon solar eclipse is about to happen 2 weeks later. Okay, so we have the full moon lunar eclipse on the 14th. And interestingly, Venus and Mercury are holding space at the point where the new moon solar eclipse is going to happen 2 weeks later. This 9 degrees of Aries point is the location where both Mercury and Venus, as they moved into Aries and then turned retrograde, 9 degrees of Aries is the point where both of them turned around and turned retrograde and went back in the other direction, and they're moving back into Pisces by this time. You can see by this point, Venus is here at 28 degrees of Pisces, conjunct the North Node, and Mercury's back at 0 degrees of Aries and about to enter into Pisces again. So this 9 degree of Aries new moon solar eclipse is significant. It is marking the retrograde point of both Mercury and Venus. What does that mean for us? Well, this new moon solar eclipse is a new beginning, like all new moons are. New moons are a time to plant our seeds for the future, to create our vision for the future. It's a new beginning. But this is an interesting new beginning because it's tied in with retrograde motion of 2 of the planets that are most personal to us. Mercury, our communications, our thoughts, how we speak, what we say, also technology. And Venus, how do we find love and beauty in the world? How are we in relationship with others? And how do we value ourselves? How do we value our own deep needs and desires that we hold in our heart? These planets going retrograde at this point of 9 degrees of Aries, and I think Venus went retrograde at 10, Mercury went retrograde at 9, but essentially the same point, are really strongly telling us, and it's amplified by this eclipse being at that same point, that we are invited into a recalibration of the themes of Mercury and Venus. So with Mercury being retrograde, we're invited to rethink, redesign, rewrite. How are we holding our thoughts? Are we tending to hold negative or positive thoughts in our mind most of the time? And if we find the answer to that is, wow, I'm holding a lot of negative thoughts, I'm holding a lot of fear, how can we shift that? Because it is through our thoughts that we create our reality. So Mercury here will be inviting us to look at this. How can we upgrade our thoughts? How can we focus on the positive? When our thoughts are more positive, what we speak will be more positive. How we communicate, another theme of Mercury. So this is a recalibration, all happening in very close quarters with the North Node in Pisces, right? Calling us into the future. How do we want to create that future with our thoughts and with our words? These are the Mercury themes. And then Venus being retrograde is going to be asking us, how do we want to shift our relationships? Do we need to have some meaningful conversations to bring things back into balance in our relationships? And Venus is not only about how we're in relationship to others, but she's also about how are we in relationship to ourselves? Are we spending devotional time bringing beauty and light into our own lives? With both Venus and Mercury retrograde, this can be a time to return to a creative practice, return to a meditative practice, return to something that maybe fell by the wayside, but it's very restorative and healing for you, and you know you need it in your life. It's a new start, a new beginning, a time to bring that back in, a time to reactivate it. One of the most important questions that Venus asks us when she is retrograde is, how are you valuing yourself? Are you valuing your needs, your desires that you hold in your heart? Are you really giving them all of the power and the importance that they deserve? What we need that we hold deeply in our heart is never selfish. It is always pointing us toward our highest truth. And so when Venus is retrograde, we're called to go within and find out, what are the deep needs and desires that I've been ignoring or pushing down or not allowing to be expressed? And how can I shift that? How can I recalibrate or rewrite this story so that I'm expressing my true needs and desires, so that I am valuing the desires of my heart and allowing myself to have space to create them into reality? And this is where creativity can actually be amazing, because through painting or through playing an instrument or even connecting with nature as part of this, going for a walk and seeing what creative new ideas flow through for us from Mercury and Venus in retrograde, right? This can change our lives. We can come up with a new concept, a new way forward. And that is the highest potential outcome of retrograde times, especially with Mercury and Venus, is really paying attention to the insights that come through, the new creative flow that may be opened up, because this is a time when we have all the energy available to us to recalibrate, rethink, rewrite our story and our lives. And so Venus and Mercury are retrograde here in this chart, and the new moon solar eclipse is highlighting the exact point that they both turned around and started moving in retrograde motion. So this new moon is highlighting those themes. And again, remember, it's creating a new beginning point for us where we get to choose something different going forward. One more thing I'll say about this new moon being at 9 degrees of Aries is it's very close to the Aries point that I've talked about and many astrologers have been talking about in many astrology videos. And actually Mercury in this chart is at that Aries point, 0 degrees of Aries, the very first degree of the zodiac. This is the point where Neptune and Saturn will have their exact conjunction in February 2026. Now, I talked more about this, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, in my previous video. So check that out, the previous astrology video that I posted. I'll also link it in the description field below to learn more about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, because I don't want to add so much to this video and go all the way into that now. There's a lot of information about it in that previous video. But essentially, what's happening is Saturn and Neptune are coming together at 0 degrees of Aries. It will be exact in February 2026, but they will already be having near conjunctions in early Aries all throughout 2025, starting in May. So this is important to understand, that the new moon here and Mercury in these very early degrees of Aries are starting to open us up to the energies of the Saturn and Neptune conjunction. Now, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction is a change in our world order, a change in our belief systems. It's very big. It's a major, extremely important transit for us. And we may begin to feel more of the energetics of it, starting with this new moon solar eclipse. We may be able to start seeing more clearly what are the new world order, changes that are coming through, or what are the new belief systems that will be showing up for us and reshaping our reality and our world. So we want to be aware of that too. And as this is an eclipse, there can be things that drop in around this time of March 29th that then take 6 months to fully roll out. and that will be rolling out in alignment with the first times that Saturn and Neptune come into their near conjunctions, near but not quite conjunctions throughout the second half of 2025. So this is a big energy here, but personally, what we really want to focus on with this new moon solar eclipse is what are we experiencing with the Mercury and Venus retrogrades that are highlighted by this new moon and all those themes that I talked about a few minutes ago. How is that showing up for you? It's very important during Mercury and Venus retrogrades to journal as well and write down what's showing up, what is the curriculum being revealed to us, what events are happening in your life that are giving you clues to what you're meant to rethink, redo, rewrite, recalibrate. So these are powerful eclipse times coming up. I hope that this video has been really helpful for you. Please do write in the comments, what do you think about this astrology, the North Node in Pisces, the South Node in Virgo, eclipses on March 14th and 29th. I will be posting more videos again soon because there's just so much to say about this powerful astrology of 2025. Definitely check out the other astrology videos that I've recorded recently. I'll link some of them in the description field below. And remember to come and check out my website, wearesacredplanet.com. And if you feel called, join me in this sacred mentorship, which I spoke about at the beginning of the video. It is a mystery school and group mentorship where you will be guided by me with very customized, personalized guidance in the small group container to transform your life through astrology, alchemy, and ritual. I'll put the link to this in the description field below as well. This will be open only until March 3rd and only for 3 spaces that I have available. So if you're interested, come here and check it out and register soon so you don't miss out on that amazing opportunity. I am sending so much love to all of you out there. Thank you for being a part of the Sacred Planet community. I am sending you so much light as well. We are moving through really momentous times. Remember, we wanted to be here. We wanted to be a part of these changes, and we have what it takes. We have the courage. We have the resilience. We have the capacity to hold the light and birth this new world. And we are doing that now. And I deeply honor each of you on your powerful evolutionary journey of your life. So much love to you all. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.